What is going on, guys? It's the Cricket Weekly podcast with Adam and Nabil. What's going on, Nabil?
What's up, Adam? And what's up, fans? How's everybody doing? Another week with Cricket Weekly here. And I hope everybody's doing awesome. And we're ready to get this thing going tonight with USA performing, in their last 6, 7, 8, 9 matches. I mean, they've just been on fire. So tonight we want to focus on USA Cricket's triumphant wins and, their success in recent memory. The last 6, 7 matches has just been tremendous for USA Cricket. And Adam and I want to, just go over some player performances tonight, take on questions, discuss with you guys, what you guys think of the current performances in USA Cricket. So Adam, it's been, up and down road for USA Cricket for a long time, but it seems like in recent memory we're, on the track and following, going in the right direction essentially. So, let's start with tonight's match, man. I mean, the match that happened today that USA won by 13 runs. Want to get right into this. So, we can discuss some of these great performances.
Yeah. So first of all,
you want to start with this, man?
Yeah. First of all, the game isn't televised anywhere. So I was basically watching Cricket Info all day, trying to keeping up with the scores. And I was pretty worried. 181, can be a good score, but sometimes depending on what kind of track it is, I couldn't tell where they're playing or how short the boundaries were or whatever. But 181 seemed pretty good. But Namibia, they were like 100 and 110 or something in the 10th over. They were looking really good, and they only had like 2 down. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a little rough. But a couple wickets there, somewhere in the early 10 overs. And then towards the end, it got super close. So USA had to restrict them. Namibia only needed 24 runs off the last 3 overs. Kenjige got hit for back-to-back sixes in the 16th over. And then Jasdeep Singh comes in. I think Jasdeep Singh's the hero of this game. So Goose, he scored 81. Scored a great made a great knock with the bat. But like I said, 24 runs off 18 balls is very gettable in T20 cricket. So absolutely. 3 overs to go. Jasdeep Singh comes in and he bowls dot wicket dot 1 wide dot whatever. And it's just like you can probably even pull up his over there if you go to the commentary or whatever there or the summary, one of those things. But then they need like 21 off 2 overs, and then Paradikar he bowls awesome over. They only get 4 or 5 from that over, leaving like 18 runs. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Paradikar with another. He had a good over there. Only a couple runs scored off it, but it was that third last over from Jasdeep Singh that got the wicket. In there, that over there, the 18th over or whatever it is, the 17th over, however you want to look at it. Yeah. Getting that wicket there, dot wicket.
He got the skipper out,
wide. Yeah, and that was clutch, super clutch, because what an over right there. Like I didn't see it. I want to see it. I want to see the footage of how this played out, like where these dots came from, how it worked out.
Yeah, this game wasn't broadcast, Adam, but the thing to note was that Jasdeep Singh was the skipper for this match. So I don't know if you noticed that he led from the front in this game.
Oh, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, he was leading this game. So I was actually surprised to see that this morning when I saw the lineup. I was like, oh man, cool. Jesse is captaining the game. I wasn't expecting. I don't think other fans were. Leading from the front and winning this match shows a lot of heart and courage, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a huge fan. He did so good in the World Cup. Almost got us over the line against South Africa, hitting that 6. I keep talking about it. I remember watching that, commentating that thing live. We were like a foot away from beating South Africa. Yeah. And, one of the things I'll probably talk about this a lot tonight, but the lineup from what we have in front of us right now is almost nothing compared to what was in the World Cup team. Like, I think only 1 or 2 people maybe played in this. I think Harmad Singh, Jasdeep Singh, and Kenjige didn't play too much in the World Cup, but none of the opening batters played because Patel hurt himself. So he didn't play towards the end of the tournament. So like that back end of the tournament basically did not represent what we have now. And that's not in a bad way. That's like we have depth to win games. And it's really about finding the 11. the 11 that's going to work. Because sometimes, like, you have an epic player. Like, my best example of this is like Quinton de Kock, right? Quinton de Kock is an epic player, but South Africa just can't put it together. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes you put a team together like this, like we're going to talk about Makamala, 20 years old, and he's crushing it, scoring 6 50s in these past 10 games. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, no, this kid's a superstar, man. As we've spoken about, in our other episodes, we've spoken about this kid. We've spoken about local talent, right? Because we've tried to highlight that Jasdeep Singh, Asai Mukamala, right? These guys are locally born U.S. players that are born here, raised here. I've played cricket against, Jasdeep Singh, when I used to travel for cricket. So I know some of these guys, and I know Sai's born here and he's trained here. So the local talent is here. So I don't know why there is that mindset gap sometimes, right? Like, hey, we need imports from other countries to come in and be part of the team, which is fine. I think there's a place for imports, to come in and do their thing in the USA cricket. But when you have such local talent, and these guys have proven it to you in under pressure, crunch situations, Jasdeep's in bowling those 2 overs, like 4 overs, 21 for 2. That's impressive record, like, bowling, man, with the leadership on and the pressure on. So that's when you really get to know about the player. Same thing with Sai. Every time given the opportunity, has just piled the runs on. And, he's a kid who I think I see as a future leader of this team as well. So, just excited to see these performances, man. Super excited. And we look at the other batsmen, Andres Gauss, let's not forget this guy, because, you can say he's an import, but he's added a ton of value to this lineup, man. So some words for this guy, Andres Gauss.
Absolutely. And I mean, he did so well in the World Cup also. And just a big heavy hitter, a top of the order batter right there. And it's really been about finding the right combination at the top of the order. I'm not sure exactly why Monik Patel isn't playing in this game. Maybe he's resting. I know they're having a bunch of games back to back. They're playing another game tomorrow also. But I liked him coming in at 4. I like Goose being up there, top of the order, opening. Like I said, we had Taylor, we had Jones. They were up in that. Taylor was opening, Jones was in at 3 kind of slots, but we have people that can jump in there and do the job. So, and like I said, Gauss, he's the best rated T20 batter that we have, and then he only just played his first couple of ODIs just in the last series against UAE. So, I like seeing him in all forms of the game. I think he's just a solid batter up there. And I think he's the guy that we kind of build the top order around. And then, Makamala, I've seen him come in at open. I've seen him come in a little bit lower, 3 and 4 in the one-dayers. It's interesting, though, like the one-dayer versus the T20. It's really a weird dynamic, like where to put people. Even personally, like for me, I never played a T20. I'm going to play my first T20 this weekend, which we'll talk about. I'm sure I might be playing it at some point, but it's like like the T20 format is a little different because you have the opportunity to like go at it for the first 6 overs. And then after the first 6 overs, you have to like kind of like lock down and like restrict the wickets falling in that kind of like middle period. And then you kind of go again towards the end if you're batting first, that is, So, we have plenty of people to go there. And it looks like I want to see Gauss opening in both formats. That's what I want to see.
I agree. I agree. And I think when guys like Steven Taylor and Aaron Jones come back into the lineup, where do you fit them? Because when you have a guy like Gauss who's performing and then Sai performing, do we see a guy like Steven Taylor come to the middle late order to become a finisher? I don't think we see that. So, it's essentially about choices at that point, right? Do we want to go with a Gauss and Mukamala, or do you want to bring Steven Taylor back up to the top of the order? So I think those are going to be some questions that, are going to be there for USA Cricket to answer. But these are all great problems to have, and like, let us know what you guys think, as fans, what your preference is right now. We're seeing performances from Andres Gauss. We're seeing performances from Sai, and then, obviously we have an opener in Steven Taylor, who's done super well over the years. We have a guy in, Aaron Jones, who's the vice captain of the team. So these guys have to come back and fit into the lineup. And, a Smith Patel has held his own. Milan Kumar has upped his game. The only guy that I see kind of on the fringes here is Shayan Jahangir. Because we haven't seen a lot of runs come from that middle late order
Yeah,
spot.
if you click on his
do we
name
see a
there,
guy like that? Perhaps Steven Keller. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the spot.
Yeah.
I'm unsure of why he's in the side. He doesn't do a whole lot because he doesn't bowl. So he's only in there. He's always in like the 6-7 slot. And if you click on his name and you go check out his like match results, I don't think he has many scores like above 20.
Yeah, he hasn't put up a significant score yet. I mean, I think he scored 150 like maybe 5-6 matches ago, somewhere, but nothing of significant. No, over consistent time. I think they tried him at open, they tried him in middle late order. So I think he's probably. But I know USA Cricket, know Cheyenne, and they think that he's an X factor type of a player. Talking to the players and kind of trying to figure out why he's in the team. So it's about that X factor that they think he possesses. Just hasn't been able to shine at the international stage yet. But hoping that he comes off good. Nothing but best wishes for each and every one of these players, because it's not easy, obviously. Staying here in America and then being a professional player with minimum of facilities and resources, and still being able to ask to compete the top level. So, commendable job to all these guys, man, because, what these guys do, I don't think anybody understands, the life of a USA cricket player. We're not talking, the international cricket players get, so many, conveniences. But these guys have to actually put a lot in there. Yeah, a lot of money too. Yeah, that too. But yeah, absolutely, man. So but these guys, kudos to them, man.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm coming, like one of my ideologies that I'm having about T20 cricket is, I think the ideology that came out of the original part of T20 was you want a big, like the word, I'm going to say big hitter. You want a big guy. You want a big hitter in there. And when I say big hitter, I'm thinking like Tim David, Stoinis, even Gleeson. Think of Gleeson from South Africa, these big hitters. Now, I don't think the big hitters actually work anymore in T20 cricket. Like if you look at like Travis Head, Steve Smith, Maxwell, those guys are really small humans. They're not big. They're like 5'8", 5'9". They're small guys, and they're just able to play awesome cricket and hit the boundary. Like you don't have to be a huge human to like play in that slot. Because even when I played cricket, grade cricket, the 6-7 slot was like the biggest guy in the team that could hit the ball the furthest, that you could throw down the order to like come in the last 10 overs, the last 5 overs, and this like hit balls. But like everyone can hit sixes now. It's not a normality to hit a 6. Like when I barely hit a 6 ever. I think I hit probably less than 10 sixes in my whole career. And that was maybe because I had smaller boundaries on some of the grounds. But as an opener, but I think, you don't need those big plays. You can have those really classy, classic batters. They're learning to hit those shots, hit the ramp shots, like hit the good ball for 6. Like just I think Travis Head and Smith are like perfect examples of us, like smaller humans that are able to hit the ball a long way. Whereas when you think of someone like Taylor, huge mountain of a man, who you like, oh, okay, we'll put him at open to get through to like really hit big during the power play. Doesn't really pay off. And you're like, oh, okay, we could put him lower down in 6 and 7 for the end of the innings. Well, that might not also work out either. You might just want a solid or, smaller, test match style or one day ODI style cricketer that can just get runs.
Or you get a specialist in there, like instead of having a makeshift approach where, Taylor's been opening the last 5-6, years for USA Cricket, if I'm not mistaken. And then, if I think it's about just the skill set, if asked to do that same role in middle order, he may not be able to perform because of just not having that experience and not being able to, know exactly, what to do in those scenarios under pressure. So guys that have done that role for, teams finishing, Jaskaran Malhotra is a great example. I know he recently retired, but he did that role for USA Cricket to finish. He was he used to bat top order. He was advised by Andy Flower, hey, if you want to make your name in cricket, I would focus on that 6-7 slot, because that 6-7 slot is what's, nobody wants to do. Nobody wants that job because they're like, man, I have, 3 overs and I got to score 40 runs, right? It's the worst job in cricket. Who wants it? Right? But, and you may come off 1 in 10 games in that role. So it's a
Yeah.
very tough gig, and you need, I believe, specialist for that role, and makeshifts won't work. So maybe if you got Cheyenne in there, to perform, then test him for, a year or so. See if he's able to get you that results, after being in that position for so long, and you can build them up to that, point. If not, then you got to get somebody ready, I feel like, for that spot. And you need, impact players, rather it be a big guy or a small guy, but somebody who can create impact, 10 balls, 30 runs, right?
Yeah.
That's an
And
impact. That's what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that we're missing. If you look at our score sheets over the past 10, or even through the World Cup, I think it's that 6-7 slot has been the fall for us.
Yeah.
And I mean, just deep, like he had a couple really good games in the World Cup, like I mentioned, against South Africa, played really well. So, but I don't know if he's like being, we're not expecting him to be the guy to pull out the 30 or 40 runs, but he has done it. So I think that's a real key to really lock in that like 6-7 spot. And I mean, like now we have like almost the first 4 to 5 stacked. A lot of good guys could all bat 1 to 5.
They all can bat. Really, Harmeet Singh is a great hitter, man. I mean, he, as you said, Harmeet Singh had some great knocks. He won us a game in the World Cup, with his late inning blitz. So these guys are very capable of coming off and doing the job. But we do need somebody consistent that can, come in and score those 30, 40 runs, in 15 balls, 20 deliveries. And it's not just USA cricket that's struggling with it. I feel like in world cricket, even the players that are playing in this position are struggling. They're not, winning games at a higher clip. It's literally 1 in every 10 games that they may come off. So
yeah, I think England's doing very well with this. I know England just played Australia, and Livingston has been put down in that 6th position, and that was, I don't know if did you see Livingston versus Australia? I think it's the greatest ending to an innings I've ever seen in any cricket match ever. England was only going to say on the ropes, but England was just like kind of at an average pace. They had a reduced game. It was 39 overs reduced, and they were on track to maybe get like was it 285, 290 maybe if they get onto Stark really well. Livingston hit Mitchell Stark for 28 runs in the last over, and it just sucked the life out of Australia. Like watching that game live, it was like if Australia just gets away with 10 runs in this last over, they're going to go on and score the runs really super easy. And no, the life just got sucked out of him. And it was like just watching someone, I've never seen someone do that at the end of the game, like just hit 28 runs in the first innings and the last over. It was like, wow. And Starkers kept putting him in the slot. I'm not sure why he kept putting him in the slot, but it was like 6 after 6 after 6. I was like, oh my goodness. And so I think England actually have a really good lineup and are doing really well stacking the order all the way down, as opposed to Australia. They just collapse. Once they get through the top 4, it just collapses all the way down, and no one can really stand in that slot there. So I think I really liked what you said. Like it's a specialty position.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a specialist position, and I think what pays, right, is to have all-rounders that are, proper bowlers and that can get you, that can bat at 8, 9, and 10, and that can come and give you that blitz even in the late order, because that in itself just solidifies that entire batting lineup. And I think T20 is an approach where, you need all 11 guys to be able to handle the bat, so. And if I was putting a T20 lineup together, you want to have a specialist bowlers in there, but those guys have to up their game with the bat because, in the T20 scenario, guys coming in at 9, 10 are required to score sometimes those impactful runs, 15 off 5, 20 off 7. So those things is what wins the games for them, for the T20 cricket. So, it's a very, fine line. You need specialists with the middle order and the openers, and but I think having good amount of all-rounders as well in your team that can handle the bowling and as well as provide you some depth in the batting is everything, man. Because if your batting lineup's going to finish at 7 and then all you have is 4 like tail enders that can just bowl, I don't think that's the way to go in this day and age.
No, you need everyone to bat for sure. And I mean, like Australia's a good example. Like Travis Head, he took 4 wickets in the last game against England, and Matt Short, he took 5 wickets in one of the games against, and the other 2 opening batters. Like everyone, I think you almost need to have 11 batters. And in T20, you need 11 batters, and you need 5 guys that can bowl, or 6 guys that can bowl.
That's right.
I mean, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can get all 10 guys to bowl 2 overs. Like if worst comes to it, because you just need guys to be able to bowl well and get some overs out of them, man. And even 1 over, sometimes it takes just getting set. So
I think spin is the most interesting one. I think spin's the most interesting one.
Let's view this match, Adam. The one from a couple days ago.
Sure. The second match against John Emirates. Yeah. So that game was a couple days ago, and McNamara out here with an 85 runs. What a performance! Getting the majority of our runs, basically half of our entire batting score is from him, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And then it did help us having there was 16 extras there. If you see 16 extras, that was like the 4th highest run scorer for us. But that's how it goes sometimes with the extras.
Yeah, but if you look at this lineup again, Adam, we got Harmeet Singh coming here in at 6. So this is like batting wise. I mean, you can see just by how the batting played out, and if this 85 wasn't there from Sai, these guys would have been booked under 100, right? So we see that this is a long tail. This is a long tail right here. Starting from Harmeet Singh, then the captain Jasdeep Singh, who was skipper also last game. I guess I didn't notice this earlier, but he's the captain for the T20 series. I'm thinking, and there's no Monang Patel in the lineup in that first one too. And then Abhishek Paratkar, Noshtush Kanjige, and John Roy Drysdale. So it's a very long tail, man. Looking at this lineup from the first game, we just got literally 5 batsmen and then 6 bowlers with a couple guys who can bat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think these like, we could say we got away with one here, but I feel like you really need to have a longer batting lineup. Like, you need to go 8 batters, and then you need to fill the rest with bowlers, and then some of your batters can also bowl. Like, that's where it needs to be. Like, right. At least all the way down.
That's right. 8 guys, 8 batters, and then 3 bowlers who can bat, who can provide you some depth. And then, and in the top 8 batters you're selecting, you need guys who can give you some overs. So in here, they already have, Gauss and Milan Kumar, Nitish Kumar and Milan Kumar are the ones that can actually give you some overs. When they have Stephen Taylor in the lineup, he can give you some overs. And then that's really Jones about it. I don't see any other options in the top. Yeah, Jones can bowl, and you need those guys in there who can give you at least 1 over and 2 overs, just even if they go for 8, 9, 10 runs and over, at least you have 1 over, less to bowl, and the options are there for you. So, definitely I think, this lineup still needs to be strengthened just because of the fact that it's a very long tail just by looking at it from this first match,
Yeah.
Even though we know Harmeet Singh can bat, Jasdeep Singh can bat, but preferably these guys should be batting at like 8, 9 instead of 6 and 7, or even like 9, 10 instead of where they're batting in this match. So so in this match they scored 175, and we bowled out the other team for 160. Abhishek Paratkar took 3 wickets, bowled a pretty good spell with 24 runs. He gave, and Kenjige again 24 for 2, consistent as ever. Harmeet Singh had a nice outing with the ball, 2 for 21. So the spin, it was seems like the spin guys, did super well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like from game to game, it's like you don't really know who's gonna get you the wickets. It's kind of strange. Sometimes spin gets a lot of wickets, sometimes the pace gets a lot of wickets, and it's you just need a little bit. Obviously, you need a little bit of everything, and hope that someone ticks it off. Because like if you go from game to game, it's kind of rare that we haven't really seen like one bowler consistently get a lot of wickets. The only person from mine that has got consistent wickets, who isn't playing in the T20 series, is Van Kalsake. He's got 2 fourthers in the ODI series. and a couple twofers as well as he played in the United Arab Emirates, and against Canada and Netherlands. So not in this lineup, not in this series, but he has got a couple wickets consistently. And that's what you want. That's what you want to hope for. What you want to see. So, and it is interesting. Like, we have been changing the lineup quite a lot. I think it's a lot more than most sides. Like, if you took the Australian or England team from T20 to one day, it's going to be the same, basically the same side. They just rotate if someone can't play. If someone can't play, that's what it is. Like, we're in a situation where we're basically rotating the side constantly to see who can play or what's going to work, rather than like, this is our 11. I would like to get to a point where we kind of like know who the 11 are, and then we kind of like rotate off that. Like, if someone's injured or someone can't get somewhere, then we switch someone in and out. But it is good to, like, I guess in the situations pre-World Cup, to give everyone a go and to see like what partnerships work well together.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely able to, it's crucial actually to see, which guys can handle pressure, because it's all about that, right? So as many guys as we can put in pressure situations to see when that when time comes at a World Cup, which guys will be able to handle pressure, because in those big matches, that's what it really is about. It's not really the skill set, that is lacking at times. Is just the ability to handle pressure. Some of these guys can do super well in these matches that are happening, but when it comes to a really crunch pressure situation, they'll crumble. So essentially that's what we have to figure out, which guys can handle pressure, under the most crunch situations. And I think those are the guys that we have to go with. And it's an absolutely, I think, great strategy, because the more guys we try, the more we're going to know that, hey, these players can handle pressure. These 4 or 5 guys are your match winning clutch guys who, when you need during a clutch situation, these guys will come through. And I think just knowing that detail and information about your own players is going to really help the selection committee and the USA Cricket make, better decisions, based on who to go with, what 15 to select. And, so the bigger pool they can come up with, a pool of 30, 40 players, and then get them down to like, hey, these guys are our best guys who can handle pressure and have done well in the past. Those are the guys that you go with. So I think that should be the approach, and they're on that track. So I'm excited about where USA Cricket's heading, man. Definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah. No, it's going great. I mean, we got another game tomorrow, another opportunity to post some good scores, get some wickets, have another win. Yeah. Excited for this. It's looking really
so for
good.
tomorrow's matches, do you see any changes coming into the team, Adam? I know
I'm not sure. I mean,
they've been making a lot of changes, so it's hard to see, but
they have been making a lot of changes. I'm not sure.
But tomorrow we're playing UAE, so let me bring up the preview for this match.
Yeah. Let's see if it shows us anything in there.
No, team list is not out, but yeah, we can bring up the points table. This match begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and it's not being broadcasted, which is the issue here, because I don't know why ICC doesn't focus on broadcasting these matches. Like we can live stream our club matches, man, here in Connecticut. Right. I don't know why ICC can't have a live stream for this thing. So it's kind of insane.
Yeah. So here it is. Yep, United Arab Emirates and Namibia right here. Now this is outside of the World Cup qualifier. This is just a one-off tri series. So that could be another reason why we're getting the, fruit salad of players, just to because it's not a qualifier game. It's just it's basically a friendly game. So, but yeah, we'll see. I'm assuming it's going to be different again. Some fruit salad of the first game and the second game. But that's all good. I mean, someone's going to perform. I'm assuming Gauss obviously it should be top of the lineup. Makamala will probably still play. Singh will probably still captain. And then the bowlers might switch out. Drysdale might not play. I know he has been on and off in the team somewhat, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering, where's like Monang Patel? Is he hurt? And let us know if any of you guys know what's going on with Monang, because or is he not part of the T20 squad? Maybe they haven't. Maybe they just gave him a break to rest.
Well, if you look to the side and you look at their,
I'm trying to understand, where he is essentially.
No, so if you look on the side, if you see the fixtures, like this fixture right now, this T20 fixture is basically friendly. It's basically a tri series. There's no like it doesn't mean anything. Whereas if you go down to like October 25th, you're going to see we're going to back in Dallas. There's a tournament down in Dallas, and that's where they're going to be playing in the US, and they'll be against Scotland and Nepal or whatever.
Scotland, Nepal, yeah.
And
so
that's happening.
Big
I was
series,
just talking,
big tri-series, whatever this is.
So I was just talking to Brian, the umpire from New York. He'll be down there umpiring those games, and that should be a good series. Another good exposure using the facilities down there. Yeah, so we're gonna have. This is basically that that World Cup qualifying pool that we're in with Canada and Scotland and Nepal. Like we have to just get in the top 4, which we should do. I think we're ranked. What do we actually? Looks like we're ranked 2nd right now, which is perfect.
Here's the table on the right. So Canada needed. Yeah, but we're 4 games behind Canada. So Canada's played 12 matches, won 8, and lost 4, have 16 points. We've played 8 matches, won 6, and lost 2, and have 12. So we're looking good to top this table. If we continue to play the way we're playing, we should be sitting at the top of this.
So our games against Scotland. So Scotland needs to catch up a bunch of games. We're going to be playing 3 games against them. That's going to be probably our biggest test out of this. Obviously, the Netherlands have our number. They've beaten us consecutively. Scotland's going to be a tough ask. They did a really good job in the World Cup. Unlucky to miss out. They got a rain washout. Unlucky there. We should really meet Nepal. But yeah, I mean, it's tight, but I think, we're definitely in that top 2, top 3 position inside of this table when it's all said and done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as, you look at our NRR, we're leading in the NRR. They've probably scored the most runs, taken the most wickets. They've performed this entire group of players, in Canada, Netherlands, Namibia, Scotland, Oman, Nepal, UAE. All of our guys are probably top in the table in comparison to all these players. So that's really great to see that we're already, at a point where we have maybe another step or 2, and then, we could be competing with the top teams in the world because, we're starting to dominate this league right here. So we definitely, I think, deserve more series against, top level sides. Get England, Australia, West Indies is just across the border, and get India, Pakistan. So if we can get series against those guys, even 1-off, 2-match series, 3-match, just to build up exposure, it's going to bring in revenue through the door. It's going to bring in more viewership to the US cricket. So I think that's what we need as well, because these performances, while they are happening, we should take advantage of it and get these teams out here to visit us. And if we win, hey, we get more viewership and more TV time on the USA networks. So
yeah, absolutely. I think the big one is probably the West Indies. That's probably where there should be a lot more attention, because it's easy to make that happen, considering that West Indies already has the facility set up, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump for us to go across to play over there. And I think that's probably a good place to be starting. And then also having Afghanistan probably hosted here, because Afghanistan can't play in their own nation because it's Afghanistan. But I mean, just them being the new team on the block, basically, we should really host them. Like, we should be setting up tri-series down in Dallas for them to come play, because they need to play against somebody too. So I think that's an opportunity, because I think Australia is probably and New Zealand and South Africa are obviously the hardest ones to get this thing against, because it's so far away, not really worth the effort to get them all together. But for Afghanistan and West Indies, I think that's probably the best bet. Definitely the West Indies. I think there should be a yearly, because what's coming up in Australia is basically the test season, the summer season, and test cricket, and the Australian test team basically don't play test cricket anymore. It's all ODIs and T20, and India is coming to Australia to play them, and India has just played Bangladesh and coming off a Bangladeshian tour. I think they probably have even one more series before they even get to Australia, and they're going to be coming in to Australia off the back of 2 test series, where Australia is coming in off the back of no test series. They're just playing a one-off test series for the summer, and that's like the classic, like, Boxing Day test and the New Year's Day test. Like the Boxing Day test is obviously the
That's
pinnacle,
exactly right.
the pinnacle of the sport outside of the
Yeah.
Ashes. And obviously the
Yeah.
Ashes will get hosted there next year.
Yeah.
But
it's just owning that time, man. It's owning that time. It's just having in people's mind that, hey, around Christmas, we're going to have a Boxing Day test, right? So like, it's just like NFL strategy. We discussed this last week. They own Sundays. They know that, hey, every Sunday there's going to be a, NFL football match. So people gravitate towards that automatically knowing about it. Right. So having these types of yearly series with West Indies, especially because, they've supported us, with the growth over the past, they've, come here before. And then, just having that yearly engagement with the players and even perhaps sending our, international players to play in their domestic setups, because I don't know why we don't use that as well. Because I know in Pakistan and India and like Afghanistan, when that team was rising, right? A lot of their local players, they didn't have the infrastructure to play in Afghanistan. They had to come to Pakistan to play in Peshawar, or they had to go to India, or they had to go to other countries to play in their domestic structure to up their games so they can match, that international level standard. So I think it's not just for that yearly thing that, hey, we're going to have this series, but also, having an opportunity for these guys to go out there and play in a domestic setup with the West Indies or with an England or with other county, areas, so they can learn. Because, if you go back to the 70s and 80s and ask cricketers, hey, how do you become a good cricketer? I remember somebody asked Imran Khan this, what do you do? He said, you have to go play county cricket. You have to play overseas. You have to be able to understand all types of conditions and to up your game. And we are not at a point where, we're that far ahead in our cricket. I think we're 20, 30 years back in our cricket, right? So for us, I think we needed that approach to go send our players out to, other domestic structures and have them experience, that feeling of playing professional level cricket with top facilities. And I think there's a missed opportunity there, I think, for us, because I think if we were to reach out to these boards, they would happily bring some of these players on, to have them on. And then it can become a thing where, we invite them on for series, our players go out there. So that engagement is what we need back and forth, with all cricket clubs or boards. Sorry.
Yeah. But you bring up a really good point, like playing the domestic game. I think the one thing stopping that is that there's just so much cricket now, because you have to think like pre-T20 cricket.
Yeah.
There was nothing to do. Yeah. You were playing in the tri-series that you were playing in, whether it's, for Australia, it's Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, or something like that, you know what I mean? Or it's Australia, England, whatever. Or Australia. So the big one, my favorite, was Australia, Pakistan, India. That was fantastic. Yeah. That was fantastic,
Yeah.
And then that was a one-day series, and that would roll into a test series. And then genuinely, then you would leave, and then you would go to an overseas country and play. And then in between those time periods, like I said, you're playing the domestic game. But now there's like umpty nine, that's my favorite word, umpty nine T20 leagues. You got the CPL right now. You have the MLC. You got the IPL. You got the South African League. Like, everyone is playing in a league. Like, for example, Tim David got dropped from the Australian team, or dropped or switched out, whatever you want to call it, dropped. Yeah. And then the next day, he's playing in the CPL. He just gets on a plane, goes to West Indies, plays for whoever. Hey, I can get you go in your team, because it's not like he had pre-planned. Like, you can't pre-plan to get dropped. But the next day, he's playing the CPL because he's Tim David, and of course, who wouldn't want Tim David to be in their side, even though I think he's overrated. But it's one of those things where they're having the player go back, or in Australia, go back to the domestic league, or having an international player go to county cricket in England, or go to the domestic one-day league in Australia. They're not going to do that anymore, because we have all these leagues that we're playing in now. You're going to go to the other league, or go to this random tri-series. Like, I'm sure some of the players from America aren't in the tri-series because they're locked up in the CPL. Or they're locked up in getting ready to go to this one in Dallas, or they just want to break. You know what I mean? Like, and USA doesn't have their own. We don't have our own state system set up. So for them, they'd have to fly to England to play county cricket, and county cricket's finishing. So what do you do? Oh, well,
but that's what I'm saying. But our players, since our system is already back like 20, 30 years, right? That's why I brought that example up of Imran Khan, because we're already far back, like 20 years. So for us, all these leagues, sure, they're there, but how many of our US players actually are going to get selected in those? Not very many.
Yeah.
Maybe one, maybe two. You have all the players from actually big nations that are actually getting selected in this T20 circuit, but a lot of our guys, they don't see that limelight. So for them, it's actually an opportunity for them to go play the county setup because nobody's doing it. They need players there. They need players in other domestic setup to come from overseas and be part of those teams and learn and teach. And, that's how the information sharing occurs. And back when, Imran Khan, again, I'm going to bring that example, he learned from the guys, that he played that county cricket with to raise his game. And he was able to, obviously, teach some things to them as well. So it's all about information sharing. And the more you play, with other cultures and other teams and other setups, it's only can help you to develop your game. And since our players don't have that opportunity to go and make a lot of the big bucks in the big leagues, take advantage of this because, your game's going to improve. You're going to get, opportunity, through the ranks just by playing these county stuff. If the T20 league is not around, right? And the T20 setup is still like all these leagues are just competing. I think by the end of 10, 15 years, we may have only one or two leagues that are standing up, maybe three leagues. The rest of the leagues will be dead. It's right now, it's just competition. Like, hey, which leagues can survive? And mostly they'll monopolize it. IPL is already monopolizing it. They already own the South Africa League, the Major League, and so whatever they're own are going to own, it's going to be them that have the monopoly over it. So essentially that's what it's going to be. And most of the leagues will be done. So I think now in looking at the trends, our players need to go play county cricket and overseas to take advantage of that stuff because nobody's doing it. So.
Yeah. So a comment in the chat, Ali Khan's a sure pick in the CPL for sure. I'm not sure if he is playing, but he should be playing.
Yeah, he's one. He played IPL as well. He's one guy. I think Aaron Jones got selected in CPL this year for Trinidad, or one of the other teams. So that's why he wasn't playing in this USA lineups because he had a CPL contract to uphold. So he was, there with this team, and I think it's good for him, because he's done what he can for USA team, and now he's getting more experience there playing domestic setup. I think it's the right call because it's going to hold him in good stead when comes the 2026 World Cup, because he's going to be played against better players, top level players at domestic setup and in CPL. So it's only going to, be good for USA cricket, but more players need that approach. If the leagues are not, inviting you, find a way to go and play county cricket, go play, in other domestic setups, because I think that's the key. But, it's all about the money and making sure they have the right funding for them to go out there and, and do what they can do. So it's also about taking a bit of chance, from the county setups on these guys. So, if there's people, that are watching this and, if you run a county team, if you run any domestic setup teams, invite USA players because, I think that's, the future is here of cricket. So, these guys need opportunity and guys like Sai and guys like, Andres and, other super great guys in here deserve a chance in those teams.
For sure. For sure.
Absolutely, man. So, what else we got? I mean, we've discussed, the World Cricket League. We've discussed the T20 setup. We want to open up some questions for fans, and interactions right now. So any questions you guys have, let us know in the comments. Make sure to check out the Reverse Scoop shop. Make sure to check out our community membership sections. Check out all the perks that you get. You can engage with Adam and I, and we provide daily updates. We have our member live, once a month. So if you want to be part of our community, hit that join button if you're watching from YouTube, and you can be part of our community. And we'll see you on the inside on our monthly call if you're interested there. So, don't forget to check out the Reverse Scoop shop to support youth cricket development. So that's what we got. We got open up questions for you guys. I do have one question for the fans. I put up on my community tab on the Reverse Scoop channel. The question was, if there were 95 runs left in an ODI match in the last 10 overs, who are you picking to finish the match, Michael Bevan or Lance Klusner? So I want to know from you guys.
No, stop. Literally, I didn't know this question. Literally, as he's saying it, he goes, as soon as you said if you needed 95 runs to win in a one dayer, my first thing I thought was Michael Bevan. That's literally what went through my head. I didn't know what choices you were going to give me. And then you said Michael Bevan. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
It's crazy,
Bevan, bro.
dude. Because I
Bevan.
mean, I put that up in my community tab today. I was like, man, I
Bruh.
want to know. I'm wondering. Whenever I wonder questions like that, I'm like, man,
Bevan,
who
bro. He
would
runs it
these guys
deep,
choose?
bro.
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
I gotta do that. I gotta clip that this week. Michael Bevan, Glenn McGrath versus I don't know if it was the West Indies or Pakistan. It was the classic game. Michael Bevan hit a 4 off the last ball to win, straight down the ground.
I think I remember something like that. I think it was against Pakistan, man. If I'm
one
not
wicket
mistaken.
left. I forget who it was against, but there was 1 wicket left, and Glenn McGrath is out there with Michael Bevan, and Bevan's like taking it to the death. Bevan has a really good clip where he talks about you just have to take it to the last over. Just
That's
whatever,
right. It's like the Dhoni style, bro. He was
take it to the
pre-Dhoni,
last over. Yeah, because you never know. Like I just watched Stark and hit for 28 off the last over. I mean, that was the first innings, but still, take it to the last over. Anything can happen. Like, yeah, it's crazy. USA beat Pakistan.
I'm gonna bring up my community screen.
Oh, yeah, what? That's rough.
So here's the
get out of here. Get out of here.
Here's the percentage we're getting Lance Klusner at 69%. With 26 votes so far.
To change it.
So if you have it, go out there and vote on this. Let us know if your team needs 95 runs in the last 10 overs of an ODI to win the game. Who's your finisher? Michael Bevan or Lance Klusner? Right now, Klusner's leading the charge. And then we got a couple other situations for you that I'm going to go over here. So first, go and vote on this and let us know in the comments what you guys think.
Watch it move. I just clicked on Bevan. Refresh it. I just clicked on Bevan. Refresh it.
We got a wave from 0 Miles Destination. What's up, Mr. 0 Miles? If you got any questions, drop them in the comments, man. We're here to just interact with you guys.
2%. Bevan all the way.
Hey, I mean,
Bevan.
I think so too. I think I would go with Bevan over Lance Klusner. But
I thought the question was going to be. I thought the question was going to be who would be the 2 batters you'd want to be at the crease, and the 2 batters were in my head. Okay, I'm going to be psychopathic, telepathic right here. Bevan, and who would you put as the other person? I'm going to write it down. Wait, I'm going to write it down.
Probably MS Dhoni.
Oh no! Oh wait. Well, I guess you're going cross. If you keep it Australia. Keep it Australia. Who are you going to go for?
Oh,
the other
Australian we're keeping
batter.
It Australia. Oh, if we're keeping an all-time, what are we thinking?
The other Australian one-day batter. Who's going to be at the crease with Bevan?
Another one-day
95
batter.
to win. 95 to win.
Yeah. You got me. Probably Steve Waugh.
Oh, that's a good one. I said Gilly. I said Gilchrist.
Yeah. Gilchrist and Bevan. Gilchrist opens the innings, though. Steve Waugh is actually a middle order player. So by the time the situation would arrive, if the situation arrives, then Gilchrist is still there. They probably already won the match because Gilchrist would kill them from the top of the order. But Steve Waugh is the middle order guy, and I think they battered a lot, Michael Bevan and him. So maybe Steve Waugh, Mark Waugh, both of any of those brothers.
Oh, I mean, watching some Mark Waugh footage, man.
He was a nasty player.
He just had this whip off his pad. Like it was so nice.
His numbers don't do justice, man. To man, he didn't himself do justice. He was a much better player than those numbers suggest. Yeah. I think he was a better player than Steve Waugh. So,
well, that's a stretch.
I mean, I saw him, bro. Like his numbers, he wasn't as consistent as his brother, but some of the shots he played were more difficult, harder to execute. I liked him, and then.
Well, no doubt. I think you brought up something really good earlier. I think you said something to the effect of it's not the skill of the cricketer, it's how the cricketer plays in the big moment. I think you said that earlier. And I think that's the reason why Steve Waugh is over Mark Waugh.
That's right.
When he scored his 100 in a day, I watched the perfect day. I watched that one with my dad. We were watching the cricket. And I think stuff like that, like the stuff that Steve Waugh was able to do in the big pressure game, Ricky Ponting pressure situation, Gilly pressure situation. Like some of these cricketers that have come and gone, that only got to play sprinkles of cricket here and there in national sides. It's just because it doesn't that they weren't great cricketers, because they can go down into the domestic game and score 150. But it's in the big stage.
Right.
Can you handle the pressure on the big stage when you've got to chase 95 runs, in the last 10 overs? So
That's absolutely right, man. That's absolutely right. So, go and vote on this. Let us know. Obviously, Adam wants Michael Bevan to win here. So check this out. We're going to move on to the next one. Who are we picking here? Are we going Wasim Akram or Curtly Ambrose?
Well, I just made a video about the West Indian bowlers,
we've got
and everyone is
analysis
obsessed
right here
with
broken
Ambrose.
down. Each of these guys. Let me see if I can open this up for the fans. Ambrose has got crazy numbers, dude. I mean, his numbers, when you look at it, it's simply insane. I'm just going to bring it right here. Akram's on the left. Ambrose is on the right. 181 matches for Akram, 179 for Ambrose, 414 total wickets for Akram, 405 wickets for Ambrose. But the difference here is the average. Look at that average with Ambrose, 20.99 and 23.62 for Akram. Overs bowled, you can see that 871 maidens, 1,001 maidens, man. I don't know if there's another bowler in history who's bowled 1,000 maidens. Maybe Glenn McGraw.
We have to look it up.
But
I've been doing the stat.
It's a crazy stat
for everybody. Yeah, I mean, I don't have Wazzy. Where's my stats from Wazzy Akram? I was doing his stats this morning actually for a video. The strike rate. Oh, it's the strike rate right there. Look at that. They have the almost similar strike rates. Look at that. That's pretty cool. That's
similar
pretty cool,
strike rate, dude. Exactly the same. Cool. But so who would you go with looking at this order? Are we going Ambrose or are we going Akram? We want to know again from you fans in the comments. Looking at this, what's your preference?
I think we go Ambrose.
You go Everyone Ambrose.
Ambrose in the video that I made.
I'm a Pakistani, right? So I have to go Akram not only because he's a Pakistani, but I have to go Akram because of the left arm angle. That's the first thing. The second thing is the ability to bat. He could bat at 7 and provide you crazy. He has a double 100 in Test cricket. Wow. So, so just that ability with the bat that he brings, with the similar strike rate and whatnot, I think I'll take, maybe a few extra runs, with the ball if he gives away and takes a similar amount of wickets, but provides me that extra depth with the bat. So my preference is Akram of those two reasons. But I think the better bowler, looking at who can just, be relentless, who's more relentless. And this is a crazy toss-up. I'm saying this, but, like Ambrose was more relentless. You can see by the average. You can see by the maiden bowls, didn't give away many runs. You can see the runs comparison. So you can see the economy, 2.3 to 2.59. So, overall, Ambrose is definitely the better bowler, but I think a better player overall, Akram was a better player just because of the overall batting ability, the left arm angle, and just being a master of swing, man. I mean, I haven't seen anybody swing like Akram, man. So that was, another one for you guys. And we want to know, we're not seeing any comments from you guys. So let us know your thoughts, who you go with. We're going to go on to the next one, to engage with you guys. The next one is
right there.
Right here. You're chasing a world record in ODIs for the highest score. Who do you want batting? Chris Gale, the universe boss, or hitman Rohit Sharma? Now, I know a lot of our viewers are the West Indies viewers. We do a lot of West Indies cricket rankings, and we have a lot of loved viewers. And, shout out to you guys that engage with us, throughout our journey here. So, thank you to you guys, first of all. And I know Universe Boss has shouted us out before on her shorts. You can check that out too. So I would also go with Universe Boss here, just because, he was a initial T20 superstar, that came onto the scene and took the entire spotlight, man, in the T20 world.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the big signing for the Big Bash. That was the first kind of like T20 that I got into watching it in Australia, and he just clobbered the ball. Everyone just wanted to watch him play. Yeah. And I think if you were to pick, the next question should be, who would be your top opening two batters? If I had to pick a top two opening batters for a T20 side, I'd pick Gilly and Chris Gale. That would be my top two openers.
Crazy. Crazy. Yeah. So yeah, let us know who you guys are picking for this one. Again, we want to know your thoughts, and I have a couple others. So we have, obviously our post from the USA win here. 339 for 4, 203 all out.
What is this?
And then this one's an interesting one. Interesting one right here. You need a wicket keeper to stump a batsman standing up to the stumps. Who do you trust? Kumar Sangakkara or Adam Gilchrist? Guess who's winning this one, man?
How is that a contest? How is it not 100-0?
Hey, I don't know. 84 votes, 60% to Kumar and 40% to Adam.
Oh man, that's
we want to know. Right, go vote. Yeah,
I just watched
vote,
a video.
Go vote in the community.
I just watched a video on Kumar Sangakkara on an example of this where he was up to the stumps and Mattia was bowling and he misjudged the Dusera, so he was off balance. And then but it was the off spinner. So then he had to throw his hand out. He caught it, but he had dove so much the wrong direction. He spun himself around 180 and then threw the stumps down because he was so far away from the crease and got the wicket. But he was joking about how the whole time the ball was in the air, he's like, oh, it was the Dusera. And then it wasn't. And then he ended up getting the stumping.
That's so funny. That's so funny, man. That's so funny. So let us know again. We've got all these votes up for you guys, so we want to know what you guys think here. Make sure to check out our last rankings drop that we did on Australian fast bowlers of all time. Adam and I were going to be bringing more Australian rankings, England rankings. We've got a bunch of other rankings in the works. So, make sure to hit that, subscribe button, hit that like button. And yeah, go check out these votes, and thank you for 5K subs. We recently hit 5K and yeah, keep supporting the channel, keep supporting the growth, keep supporting, the youth cricket here in America. And we're trying our best to bring you, all USA cricket details and information on a weekly basis from, Adam and I here. And we want to know questions and topics and things you guys are interested in, because it's all about, bringing you guys what you guys want to see. So, whatever you guys have in mind, if any ideas comes to you, drop them in the comments. We would love to cover, things that you guys are interested in. The next one, again, I can bring up another one before we call it off, is you need a fielder to pull off a stunning catch to change the game. Who's your go-to? Jonty Rhodes or Ravinder Jadeja? Some of the top fielders there. Yeah, Ricky Ponting. Yeah, I mean, he could have been the other option with Rhodes.
He could have been. That would have been super close. That would have been super close. Jonty, I think it's Jonty, Ricky, and Andrew Simons, I think, are the best. I think I was watching the Willow podcast, and they were like, Andrew Simons is the best fielder. And
Simons just had bucket hands, dude. And he was a beast.
That guy wrestled bulls. No joke. He wrestled wild buffaloes up Northern Territory. Dude, that guy can catch a buffalo, bro. What a buffalo. That guy can. Nothing's getting past that guy. Plus, he throws a stump down, and plus he gets mad, bro. The fight, Aussie fights. I know cricketers don't fight, but there was a whole controversy with him. I don't know if it was India or if it was Bangladesh or who it was, but they got heated a lot. He got a
probably Pakistan, man. I think it was
Pakistan. Probably
he loved playing against them, and his high score was against them. He smashed them all around the park, and I remember that ODI, man, where he smashed 170 or 180 something. I
just love how you get so angry. He just gets so angry and just absolutely smash it. I can't remember another player that actually got physically angry and then actually went out and scored runs.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I guess we got another one here. So I'm going to bring up another one. You need to chase 400 in a test match. Who do you want to lead the charge? And Brian Lara and Virat Kohli.
I think this is accurate. I think this is accurate.
Kohli's the king of chases. This dude's like a master chaser. This is unbelievable. And I think this is probably biased because a lot of our viewers are, West Indies viewers because of ranking videos and all that we do. So I think, we need some more.
I think this Lara is different. I think he's just different.
Dude, Lara was class. Lara was class, but there's a debate, right? And in our rankings that I did on the West Indies cricket, the debate was on the number one spot, right? Lara or Sir Viv or Sir Gary Sobers, so a lot of the people, were between Lara and Viv, but Lara was obviously, a lot of the guys were, hey, he played by himself, didn't have a lot of help in his time. Viv played around great players. So, there were a lot of emotions on that number one pick, and I think I'm gonna put it up here on my next one. Who's the number one West Indies batsman of all time, Lara or Viv? Because I think that would, give us a good idea if I put that vote up. So maybe tonight.
What era was Vivian Richards playing in? The 80s era?
70s to 80s, late 70s.
Yeah, so this is the whole thing. There has to be like a whole deconstruction of world cricket, because the 70s, 80s era has to be separated from the 90s, 2000s era, because we're comparing like Dennis Lilly versus Glenn McGrath, right? And it's like, well, Dennis Lilly played in the 70s and 80s, and Glenn McGrath played in the 90s, 2000s. So it's like Brian Lara is batting, he's scoring runs against Glenn McGrath. He's scoring runs against Jason Gillespie. He's scoring runs against Shah Bakhtar. He's scoring runs against and it's like different. And then you have these guys, they're scoring runs against Dennis Lilly, they're scoring runs against Thompson. Whoever else is, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just nuts. Like we're comparing who's the best, but you also they're against their best against who they played against. Also makes their stats. Because we should be compared, like we should do things like, what if Brian Lara played today and he was up against like this? What would Kohli be like if he was playing against the Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne era? What would that look like? Because I don't know, because people will tell me that Don Bradman's not the best, and like
I personally think the batsmen from the older era, the 60s, 70s, 80s, I mean, those guys had it a lot tougher. Pitches were uncovered that they played on, right? So the pitches and the surfaces, they were much harder to score runs on, longer boundaries, smaller and flatter bats. So skill-wise and the quality of bowling those guys played, I think I rate those guys much better players just by the conditions. Now, the game has evolved over time. Maybe the quality through the 90s and 2000s have stayed the same, but over the last couple of decades, we've seen spin bowlers, right, go out of the game. Guys like Muralidharan or a Saeed Ajmal or a Saqlain Mushtaq. We're not going to see bowlers like that anymore, because of the change in elbow and the rules and whatnot. So the era is different now, right? The toughest thing back in the day was to play this spin bowlers, playing a Shane Warne, playing a Muralidharan, playing a Saqlain Mushtaq, playing an Abdul Qadir, right? Those guys were masterclass spin bowlers, and the players that faced those guys, were legends. And today we look at the top two spinners. We may have, Ashwin. We have a Lion, very straightforward, typical spinners, nothing like what those guys brought to the table.
Yeah.
Right. A different challenge altogether. So, in today's day and age with bigger bats, smaller boundaries, hard wickets, and just everything made for batting, these guys have it much easier. So, I think just looking at it skill wise, those guys were better skilled players, in my opinion, but nothing to take away from today's players, because the demand of cricket today has gone, through the roof. So it's like a lot more cricket you have to keep up with, a lot more things. So the scheduling is different. So there's different pros and cons, from the timeline. But
I think that one big thing you mentioned, like I think the bat technology is probably the biggest thing, the biggest gap between what they played with in like the 1950s, 60s,
and the boundaries, man. The boundaries were so long back in the day.
But like, think about if we gave Bradman or we gave Border like a Kookaburra, like Kahuna, like fresh English willow, you know what I mean? Like, what would that do? Would they score an extra like 226s? Would they hit fours easier? Would they like their block shots go punch through the field to score extra singles? Like, I feel like it would. I feel like because the bats are just different. I mean, like I personally
pitches. Have them play base pitches. Like those guys would smash everyone all through the parks, man.
Yeah, I mean, I personally built a Gray Nicholas English willow bat. I carved one out from my project, and that thing, I had the thickest middle on that thing, and you would just like block it, and it would go for 4.
That's crazy.
You just block it for 4. It was nuts, and I think that would be like, imagine what those guys, if they had like the technology and the bats, how far they would be able to hit it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I think that's all we have for tonight. We've discussed a lot of cricket. We've got a lot of ranking videos coming up, and stay tuned on our community tab with the votes. We're going to be putting out some ideas for our future cricket ranking videos. we want to know from you guys, what kind of rankings you guys want to see first and foremost. And, we'll, record them accordingly to what you guys want to see. So we want you guys to, make your opinions known. Let us know what you guys want to see on the channel. And yeah, I think we've discussed a lot tonight. In the comments, let us know again any questions for future episodes, any ideas, and make sure to check out our community tab and the membership section where you can get perks. You can engage with Adam and I on future live streams, and yeah, you get other perks. So go check those out, and yeah, check out our other links. For if you want to create content like this, or our shop. So everything is in the description there for you guys. Take a look there. And yeah, I think that's all we have. Adam, you got anything else before we call it off?
That's it. Good luck to Team USA tomorrow. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Catch you guys next week. And Adam Bannon and Nabil Khan from the Reverse Scoop signing off. Have a great night.